Hello, today we're reviewing section 6-6. Okay, it's one of those days. Graphing quadratic functions. And we're on page 272, so I'm just going to do some examples from page 272. And I'm going to remind you of a few important things. So let's go. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to remind you of is some little tips. The standard form of a quadratic function or quadratic equation looks like this. And we know it's quadratic because it has an x squared. That's what makes it quadratic. Okay, if it's just a plain x, it's not quadratic, it's linear like we worked on yesterday. Now, there's a couple other things to remember. Look at the sign that's on the x squared. If the sign is positive, the parabola is going to open up. If the sign is negative on your x squared, the parabola is going to open down. That's super important, helpful, and hold on, I said that wrong. Super important and helpful information that you need for tomorrow. So pay attention to that sign that's sitting on the front of your x squared. Positive opens up, negative opens down. Now, for number 14, we have to graph it. That's what it's asking us to do. Graph this function for the domain of all real numbers. That means I can choose any values I want for x. So I'm going to choose my usuals, and then I'm going to plug it in and see what y equals. So y equals -2 squared y equals -1 squared. Y just is going to equal 0 there. Y equals 1 again. And I can see that this is going to mirror around the 0. And then if I have 2 squared, I have 4 again. Okay? So those are my points. Now I'm going to graph it. So please, if you have not taken the notes down that are over here, you need to pause right now and copy that down because I'm about to erase it. Okay? And so now I'm just going to plot all these points that I found over here and draw my parabola. So I already know that my parabola opens which way, up or down? Up. It's a positive x squared, so the parabola is going to open up. So I need to make sure when I graph it that I get a parabola that opens up, otherwise I made a mistake somewhere. So -2, bless you, and 4, -1 and 1, 0 and 0. My points are mirroring around the y-axis, which makes it super convenient to graph. And then I'm just going to draw my parabola. Okay? Now, on the quiz, you must show your work or you will not get credit. Okay? So, on the quiz, I need to see all of this information. If you just graph, my e-learners especially, if you just put it on the graph, I am not giving you credit for it. It will be marked wrong because I need to see the work that you did to find those points to plot it. Okay? All right, copy that down. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. That was a fun conversation. So anyway, if we look at this equation, which direction is our parabola opening?
Down.
Down. Good. So when I graph it, I need to make sure it opens down. So again, choose your x's, whatever numbers you want. Then we're going to plug it in and solve for y. All right. So y equals negative. Now you definitely want to use parentheses here. or we are going to have some wrong answers. Okay? So y equals negative because of this negative stays, but negative 2 squared is positive 4. So it gets a little tricky with all those signs on this one. And negative 4 minus 3 is going to be a negative 7. And the next one, again, with that extra negative, y equals negative 1 minus 3, which is negative 4. If I plug 0 in, I'm just going to be left with negative 3. Remember, 0 doesn't always equal 0. You still have to remember that you have that minus 3 sitting on the end. So don't leave that off. Negative 1 squared minus 3. So that's negative 1 minus 3, which is negative 4. And then the last one, so if you did something wrong with the negatives on this one, you would see it when you graphed it, okay? So just pay close attention once you graph and make sure you got a parabola. All right, so plotting my points now. I have negative 2, negative 7. And then I have negative 1 and negative 4. I have 0 and negative 3. And then my other points are mirroring around the y-axis, which is good. Oh my goodness, all these things are posting. And then 2 and negative 7. Okay? So there we go. Opens down. And there you go. Okay, so part of your quiz is going to have a problem like this. It's going to give you the equation, and it's going to give you 4 graphs. And you have to match which graph matches this equation. So first of all, we could immediately rule out 2 of the graphs. Why?
They're down.
Yes, because if you look at the sign in front of the x squared, it's positive. So you know that this parabola opens up. So right away, we can cross out this one and this one because they both go down and this parabola opens up. So now we only have 2 choices left. So the way you're going to find out is you're going to use these points that are on the graph, and you're going to plug them in to your equation and see if the 2 sides balance. So for example, if I look at this one here, I'm going to take some of those points and I'm going to plug them into this equation. Okay? So yeah, let's do 0 first because that's easy. So if I put 0 in for y equals 0 squared minus 3, I get 0 equals minus 3. Is that true? No, 0 does not equal minus 3, so it looks like this one is not right. But let's check this one down here just to be sure. So this is the one we're going to look at right now. We're going to plug in some of these points. Let's do this one down here, which is 0 and negative 3. So 0 and negative 3. I'm going to put 0 in for x, be careful of that, and negative 3 in for y. So negative 3 equals 0 squared minus 3. So negative 3 equals negative 3. Is that true? Yes. So that has to be the graph that matches this equation. So then you would select this graph for your answer, okay? Again, when you're turning in this problem for me, I need to see the work. Do not just randomly choose a graph because I won't give you credit for it. I have to see that you tried plugging some things in like this to show me that you found one that actually balanced out. You found the right answer, okay? I need to see it. This is the last section for your quiz review, and on this one they give you the graph of a parabola, and then they give you parts of some points. So all you have to do is look over at the graph and find the point that completes the coordinate or the ordered pair, okay? So if I'm looking at y, when y is 0, x is 0, right there. When x is 1, 1 is right here, what is y at? Y is at 1 also. When x is -2, 1, 2, right here, what is y at? Yeah, +3 actually. Because we went up, yeah. And then the last one, if y is at 3, what is x at? Now x, -2 and -2 and +2. You see how there's a point here and a point here? They're both at 3 for y, but they are different for x. Because it's a parabola, you're going to have more than one answer for some of them, okay? So that's how you do that section. That's all there is for the review today. Remember, you're going to set up your quiz with Mrs. Bautista, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye. Miss you guys.